Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar, and thank you all for joining me once again. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about claims in the dinar community right now. Guru Nader saying that $3.22 is locked in, the rate he's been predicting for a full year, and now he believes everything is lining up exactly the way he said it would. Whether you agree or disagree with him, one thing is clear. This conversation has completely shaken the RV world. And people want to know if this could really be the moment everything finally comes together for Iraq in the ID day. A lot of you have been messaging me asking whether this $3.22 figure is realistic, exaggerated, or simply impossible. And honestly, that's what makes this discussion so exciting, because for months we've seen rumors, interviews, economic hints, political pressure, and even IMF-style adjustments being whispered behind the scenes. But whenever someone sticks to a prediction for an entire year, especially when markets, governments, and situations keep shifting, it definitely raises questions. Is Nader seeing something others aren't? Or is this just another case of hopes getting ahead of reality? Now, what's interesting is that Nader isn't just repeating an old guess. He's doubling down. He says the indicators he's watched for the past year are finally showing movement in the right direction. He points to Iraq's economic reforms, the stability in oil revenue, the government's push toward digital transformation, and the ongoing pressure to meet international standards. And look, whether anyone believes him or not, the timing of all these developments coming together has definitely created a big wave of conversation. Many investors are saying that Iraq hasn't looked this stable in over a decade. The country is pushing forward with new agreements, resolving issues slowly but steadily, and positioning itself in a more controlled financial environment. When a country gets serious about regulation, transparency, and global integration, it usually means they're preparing for something bigger. And Nader believes that something bigger is what he's been pointing to since day one. What I find interesting is how confident he is when he says locked in. He didn't say possible or maybe. He used the kind of language that makes people take a step back and say, wait, is this guy actually seeing something solid? And that confidence alone is what has the community buzzing right now. Because let's be honest, the RV world is full of predictions. But rarely do we see someone stay consistent for 12 straight months and then claim that everything is now confirming that same prediction. Of course, we have to stay grounded too. Iraq is still dealing with its own internal challenges. Progress is happening, but it's not always smooth. The banking sector is changing, but slowly. The currency environment is shifting, but cautiously. So even though there is major excitement around the possibility of a higher rate, we still have to acknowledge that nothing happens overnight. But it's undeniable that something has changed in the tone and confidence among several commentators, including Nader. Another thing people are talking about is how the global environment is pushing Iraq to modernize faster. With digital currency systems expanding worldwide, with countries being pressured to upgrade their financial infrastructures, Iraq simply cannot remain in the old system forever. And whenever modernization happens, currencies usually get reevaluated, reviewed, and sometimes adjusted to better reflect market reality. That's a big part of why this $3.22 locked in comment hit so hard. Think about it. For years, people wondered whether Iraq could even reach $1. Then some said it could go to $2. The $3.22? That's a number that symbolizes more than just money. For many investors, it represents the idea that Iraq is finally stepping into its potential instead of sitting in a suppressed position. And the fact that Nader is saying this exact number is what he believes is confirmed now is causing a mix of hope, debate, and curiosity across the community. If we look at history, hyper-suppressed currencies have bounced back in the past, and sometimes much higher than expected. Kuwait, Germany, Japan all had moments where their currency values were nowhere near their true potential until reforms kicked in. So when people say Iraq can't rise, well, history shows that sharp recoveries are not only possible, but have happened before. And that's exactly the angle Nader has been pushing for months. But whether Iraq will follow that same path is still the big question. The country has potential, but potential only turns into reality when the right political, economic, and international conditions align at the same time. And Nader's argument is that this alignment is finally happening right now. According to him, the timing, the reforms, the deals, the stability, everything matches the scenario he's been expecting for the past year. When you listen to him closely, he's not just guessing. He talks about inside developments, meetings, government decisions, and the tone among officials shifting from someday to now we are ready. And that's where the conversation gets serious. Because when someone claims to see direct signs of movement, even skeptics pay attention, not because they believe in hype, but because they know Iraq is unpredictable and big decisions can come suddenly. Another reason this is trending is because $3.22 isn't a random number. It's a symbolic figure connected to Iraq's historical value, their oil output, their GDP potential, and what many analysts believe could be a long-term fair rate once the country becomes stable and integrated. So when someone says that exact number is locked, people immediately make the connection that this might be more than just talk. But I want to emphasize something important. Nobody should take any prediction as a guarantee. Predictions are predictions, and the dinar world has seen plenty of those. Some came true, many did not. What matters is understanding the context, watching what Iraq is doing, and staying aware of the patterns we see in economic reforms. Because whether the rate comes out at $3.22, lower, higher, or not at all, what really matters is the direction Iraq is moving. The truth is, we are witnessing major changes right now. Iraq has been pushing harder than ever for transparency with the U.S. Treasury. They're digitizing their transactions, cleaning up the banking system, and preparing to integrate with international standards. These aren't small things. These are the exact reforms that eventually give a currency its true value, and that's why this entire discussion is heating up. Let's also look at the oil factor. Iraq is one of the biggest energy players in the world, and as oil demand shifts globally, Iraq is under pressure to stabilize its economy long-term, and a stable currency is a huge part of that. So when people say Iraq could never reach such a number, they forget that oil-based economies often hold more power than people realize. Meanwhile, international investors are watching closely. They've been waiting for Iraq to clean its financial system for years, and now they're starting to see progress. When external confidence rises, currencies strengthen, sometimes dramatically. So it's not crazy to wonder whether Iraq is preparing for a major shift. What makes this moment feel different is the tone inside Iraq itself. Officials seem more assertive, more confident, and more aware of their long-term goals. They're not playing defense anymore, they're planning ahead. That's exactly the kind of environment that leads to financial restructuring, but to be fair, we still have no official announcement, no confirmed rate, no formal IMF statement. What we have is momentum, speculation, and strong opinions from commentators who claim they see movement behind the scenes. And in the dinar world, momentum can cause waves even when nothing concrete has been announced yet. That's why it's important to stay patient. Whether you're excited, nervous, or skeptical, it's better to stay informed than to fall for rumors or fear-driven reactions. And that's why channels like this exist, to help you understand what's happening, what's believable, and what's just noise. One thing is for sure, this $3.22 locked in comment has sparked more discussion than anything we've heard in months. People are debating, analyzing, questioning, and trying to piece everything together. And that's good. It means people are thinking critically instead of blindly believing every headline dot. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in a moment of possibility. Not confirmation, not guarantee, but possibility. And possibility is what keeps the community engaged, hopeful, and focused on what Iraq is doing next. As for Nader, he seems more sure of himself than ever. He isn't backing down, and according to him, the signs are clearer now than they've ever been. Whether he's right or wrong remains to be seen, but his voice has definitely added fuel to the fire. In the end, only the Iraqi government and the financial authorities know the real numbers. Only they know the timeline. Only they know the final decision. Everyone else, including gurus, can only interpret what they see and share their personal beliefs. But one thing is certain, Iraq is changing fast. And whenever a country changes this fast, currency shifts often follow. So while we wait, we stay alert, we stay informed, and we stay ready for whatever comes next. Thank you all for watching, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Iraqi Dinar for more updates as this story continues to unfold. Stay tuned, because this conversation is far from over.